All right. Welcome into another edition of Depot's Den. I am your host, Evan DePasquale, and here with me is one of my good friends. I knew him, just for, a year at school, and he came on my old show over at WBMY, the Blitz. Plays hockey for the Buffalo State Bengals, was there how many years? 5 years. Please welcome Joel Frazie. Thanks for coming on. Welcome to the
Hey,
Den.
thank you, thank you. I feel very welcome to the den. To the den. How'd you come up with that name?
Okay, so I'll be honest, I'm not the most creative person, so I was like thinking around, and my one buddy Joe Callie helped me come up with this. He actually helped me with
Den.
the logo too. If you could see it
Okay. Oh yeah, I see it up there. Yeah, no, it's nice.
in the top corner. I
Yeah.
I like said I like was looking up podcast logos, and I saw that, and I was like, I want this. And especially, since it's called the Den, you can kind of like make it seem like it's a man cave.
Oh
That's
yeah.
and so that's how I came up with it, and I love it. It's
Oh,
my
that's
it's awesome. So
that's
um,
good. Well, hey, you're doing well, clearly. So, I mean, I'm happy to see you're doing well too.
yeah, I'm glad to have you come on the show. All right,
Yeah.
my first question is what made you come to Buffalo State? You're
Oh,
from Michigan, so like, how did you find out about Buffalo State, and what made you want to come here?
so with hockey, it's mainly recruiting, especially at the collegiate level. Even the lower collegiate level, it's the same way. I actually was playing juniors in Shreveport, Louisiana, in the North American Hockey League, and when I started looking for colleges, I was looking for something with a general studies program because I didn't know what I wanted to get into yet. I was assuming that I was just going to be another business major hockey player. It's very common, very common. And so I just thought I was just going to follow that path, and then have a bunch of teammates in my classes, right? Like that sort of thing. Went to I never toured any schools. I only toured Division 1 schools, but not like on an official tour or anything. But like I had only gone to Division 1 schools at that time, and I kind of just started getting a lot of calls from Division 3 programs, and I kind of listed them out and talked to each coach. Say what do they need, and I ended up going to this small state school out in Wisconsin for 3 years. And after COVID happened, there was a little situation with the coach, and a lot of our guys ended up leaving. And it was either I stay and try to fix the problem, or I dip out of there. And I made the decision to get out of there. And so then I hit the something called the transfer portal, the NCAA transfer portal, and it's basically where your AD just kind of throws your name, and it gives every collegiate coach for that sport um, your name, your email, your phone number, and maybe how many years of eligibility you have left. Maybe I'm not sure, but Steve Murphy, our coach here, was one of the first guys to call me, and I had a really nice conversation with him. He told me what he needed brought to the team, and what he saw of me from like limited video and stats and everything. And I said, thank you so much, coach, but I'm gonna see my options because I just entered the portal at the time.
Mhm.
And he said, yeah, no, take your time, whatever, talk it over with your parents and whatnot. And this is obviously right after COVID too. So, he's, hey, like, by the way, like, you're gonna have to like, get vaccinated. You're gonna have to, do certain things in order to come to a school in New York. And on top of that, it's out of state tuition, which is, hikes it up a little bit. So I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. And considered it, talked to a couple other schools. And at the end of the day, my conversation with Coach Murph was, head and shoulders above the rest. So I told him, I said, listen, like, you're a young coach. I like your style. Like, let's do it. And so that summer, I worked my tail off, and ended up coming to Buffalo and meeting some of my best friends. So it's been a journey to get here, but I loved every second of it, and I wouldn't change any of it.
Now, there has been, like in previous years, there has been a lot of success with Buffalo State hockey with the
Yeah.
SUNYAC. Did that ever like Did that ever cross your mind when you
Oh,
were?
absolutely, yeah. So like the school that I was just at before I came here, we just came off a conference championship. Like we just won like our conference.
Oh, nice.
And so I like, it was hard for me to leave, but at the end of the day, like I felt that it was probably the best decision for me. Not looking at it too selfishly, of course, but just I have to put my interest, above, like what's best for, I don't know, a teammate or whatever. So yeah, yeah, I just had I kind of had I did a little bit of research with the SUNYAC. I knew the SUNYAC was one of the best Division three. So for D3, especially at hockey, it's all about conference. If you're playing in a good conference, you're going to get a lot more eyes. You're going to get a lot more attention, especially if you want to keep playing after. And so the SUNYAC has a great reputation for that. I mean, you have like, 3 or 4 teams that are like usually ranked at one time. Like you have your big schools, but yeah, no, Buff State has been, they've been a juggernaut. They've been easily sitting in that second or third seed for however many years before COVID. So yeah, no, that a winning tradition is an important thing, but at the same time, like I wanted to be, part of the solution that got them over that 2 or 3 seed. I wanted to get them to number one, right? Or just win the whole thing at the end of the year. That would be even better, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that was kind of my mindset. I was very happy to get reached out, or to get contacted with a team that had the reputation like Buff State does, a gritty, fast team that, is coached well. And that's what Murph wants. And you can see kind of in his teams the past couple of years now, like how he's trying to build it. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Now
yeah.
you bring up Coach Murphy. What was he like as a coach? Obviously you felt like a really good. You felt really good about him and all
Yeah.
that stuff. What was that like? Finally, like that first practice, I'd say, getting him as a coach. How different was it?
You know what? It's hard to say. I think the first practice was tough because you had a couple transfers like myself that
Mhm.
had played the year before. Because the year before was when COVID hit, when it was bad, when everything got canceled. So you had a couple transfers that like played last year, but you had the rest of the team, or actually the transfers and the freshmen, right? Because they were coming off of juniors. They played last year too. But for the rest of the team, they hadn't played a game or even stepped on the ice, unless they went home and skated. Like they hadn't stepped on the ice in a year. So so that first practice, it was a lot of growing pains, for sure. We had to shake the rust off a little bit, and myself included. Like I didn't get a full season the year before either. So yeah, like but Murph has been, he's a straight shooter. He's a straight shooter. He'll play with your mind a little bit, but he does it in a good way, does it in an appropriate way. So he can get the best out of you.
Yeah.
Um, which is fine. Some people say that he's hard to play for. I don't think he's necessarily hard to play for. But he definitely like
Does he
he's
give
just
you
pushing.
that tough love?
Yeah. He's just pushing you. Like you realize the game, right? Like I think one of the best situations that I've been able to have is when I go home in the summer, I coach a little bit with
Okay.
this, I it depends on the summer when I go back, but sometimes it's 15U boys, like sometimes it's like 13U kids, like sometimes it's a 12U girls team, like it. So when I go home and I do that, like I get a different perspective of the game because like I'm not the one out there, like I'm actually like, you know what I mean. And then when you're young too, it's easy because you just roll the lines, but like when it comes to Murph, like I get what he's trying to do. Like, you know what I mean? He's not trying to, knock anybody down. He's just trying to like, he's going to be negative on you because, because hey, like get it together. Like, let's go. Don't let the guy next to you down. So, but yeah, no, Murph has a good head on his shoulders, and he's building. We're building right now, and unfortunately we lost a couple guys this year just because of how old we were. But
Mhm.
he'll rebuild it again.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask, like you were talking about COVID, like what is going being a student athlete and having to deal with COVID? I mean, you were talking about you know, like
Terrible.
were you able to like be able to skate? Like, did you have a place where you can like kind of just get some practice in, get some shots in during COVID, or was everything really shut down?
So I got lucky. I got lucky. Okay. I was in the state of Wisconsin that was it, I'll put this politely, that it's a state full of people that didn't really accept COVID. Okay.
Hmm.
So because of that, you had a lot of people in higher positions letting things stay normal. Okay. And the only reason I say that that's lucky is because we were still able to practice like 3 or 4 times a week. And that was a great, and obviously this is nothing illegal I'm talking about. I'm just saying that, like,
Yeah,
given the situation of the school and everything, they let the athletes practice. There were guidelines, like we had to wear masks. Uh, we um, we couldn't, if we were working out in the weight room, it was one team at a time. You know what I mean? Like
share the
they
same
did it
water
very.
bottle.
Yeah, oh yeah, they gave us water bottles like that. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. That's a perfect example. Like they gave every athlete like their own water bottle with their number and sport on it. Like it was a very clear cut thing, and they had a plan and they executed it well. Um, and yeah, but listen, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It was terrible. It was still awful.
Hmm.
Like there was nothing going on in the world. Yeah, yeah, oh god, there was so much with politics and stuff too out by where I was, because I was right on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin, and all that stuff that happened with the George Floyd the tragedy and all that. That was like 30 minutes from where I lived. It was crazy. Um, and you could see the smoke from the city, like in my from my
Holy cow.
from my thing. But yeah, so like other than that, like the COVID was just it was so bad, because like there was nothing to do. I mean, we could still like see each other as a team, but like we couldn't. I think that, I don't know what the rule was. I think it was like 8 guys. Like we couldn't, you know what I mean? So like if we wanted to go watch like an NHL game or something, like we had 8 guys in one house and 8 guys in another. Like, and then it's like splitting up the team. Like it was bad. Like it was unfortunate, but from a mental standpoint, it probably made all of us tougher, though. I mean, and I speak for everybody that
Hmm.
went through it. I think that it was a good. I mean, I don't think it was good, but I think it was probably something that built character. He's going through a pandemic in your life. I mean, we're going to be talking about that when you and I are 50, right? Like
Oh
how
yeah.
what we did. We're gonna be learning about that in schools, right? So it was tough. It was tough, but it was bearable. It was bearable. It was just being stuck in the house too was terrible. But
I feel that.
yeah.
I There's one time I was actually stuck in my car, like
Yeah.
I was stuck in my house for so
Yeah.
long that I actually my car actually, like, the battery died because it wasn't driven. So what I actually
Oh
had to
yeah.
start,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I wasn't working at the time, I actually had to, like, my mom said to me, she's like, "Okay, every day, just drive your car for like 10 minutes just to get the
Yeah.
battery charged." And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like
No. That's
that's just like insane to me.
yeah.
Um,
Our moms
but
would get along well, by the way.
but as a student athlete, how difficult is it to train year round and also
Mhm.
have to juggle, playing a sport
Yeah.
in school and also, trying to have a social life as well and even maybe even a job?
Yeah. No. Okay. So yeah. I mean, I'm a great person to ask that, because everywhere I've gone, I've had a job with it. Because I like having a little bit of play money to do with whatever I want, right? Um, I mean, there's really no easy way to answer that, but the best way to do it is like the number one thing everyone wants to know about is like the social life, like how much sacrifice we have to do. It
Hmm.
would it blows people's minds how we have like social lives. And to me, I think it's simply because like when we are part of a team, like we don't view it as a team. I think we view it more as like literally brothers. Like we do nearly everything together during hockey season. In like the thing is if you're on a team with like good camaraderie, like unless it's like a completely toxic environment, which has happened, but it's rare. But like if you're on a team like that, like you're usually doing like everything together, so like you're socially acclimated. Like, yeah, you could get sick of hanging around the same guys all the time, but for some reason we don't. So so for that, like it's easy to do like school and social, or not school, sorry. It's easy to do hockey and social life. Like those two things are pretty easy. Depending on your major, obviously, like that's how hard school's gonna be. But like if you have a teammate in the class or something, that makes it a lot easier to like bounce questions off of or whatnot. But yeah, it's all time management. It really is. Like there's nothing else to it. Like, if I got class at 10, I'm waking up at 9 and having breakfast, going there. And if we got practice at 2 or something, like between 11 and noon, say, or between 11 and 1, like that is going to be, I'm not going home. I'm staying like in a classroom like this, or going to a study set or a study room or something, and just working on homework for a couple hours, and then go to practice, so I can focus on that. And then from there it's either more homework or dinner, and then, sleep, and then wake up and do it all again. It sounds torturous, it sounds terrible, but for some reason it's so
It's
fun.
a
If
it's a
you
sacrifice that you got to, do what you love, and I can,
uh,
hockey is definitely something that people will give sacrifices for
oh,
to be able to
absolutely.
do what they love.
Absolutely, yeah, and, like, and then for the job thing too, like, you can find, like, little jobs that are, I mean, y like, I work at the rink here, like, at our, at our school rink, and it's awesome. I just sit there and I give locker room keys, and, I gotta move the nets when they take, off the ice, and if somebody comes in with a question about, you know, ice times or whatever, like, it's very rare, but it happens. Like like I do that and I get paid minimum wage. Like it's nothing crazy, but I'm collecting, 10
Mhm,
hours a week or whatever it is. Like that's better than nothing. Like,
mhm,
and then on top of that, you can, for most of the work study stuff that you can do here, you can do homework during it too. My roommate Connor Beisel, he tutors. He tutors. We would joke with him. He would show up like a couple minutes late to all of our meetings throughout the week, like during the season, because he was coming in from tutoring, and like, you know what I mean? Like if you want it, you can do it. You can make time for it. But it's kind of just time management, waking up at a decent time every day, and I don't know, like it's. Have you ever heard of like usually like when the busier you are, the smarter, like the better grades you get. Like, cause
mhm.
like that's like we're living proof of that. Like, cause like if I didn't have anything else going for me and all I had to do was school, I'd probably be so much lazier than I am now. And I'm probably not even lazy now. I just like think I am. But yeah, no, it's to answer your question, time management. It definitely is.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, all right, this just popped into my head. This is kind of a selfish question.
Ooh, let's hear it.
I I have ice skated probably maybe a few times. I played pond hockey.
Yeah,
I don't have my own ice skates.
really.
What is the typical size for like someone's for like an ice hockey skate? Because I
Oh,
that's something I've always wanted to know. Like
it's
if
usually
so,
2 sizes lower. It's usually 2 sizes lower than what your shoe size is.
okay.
So, like, if you got, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you have like 10s, I'll just use me as an example. Like I'm usually like a 10 and a half, 11. Um, but for some reason I'm an 8 in a hockey skate.
I think you
Um,
just because there's so you want to like make sure that there's like really not as much wiggle room in your
you
feet.
know what? I don't know why I don't know why it's necessarily different. That has never been explained to me. It's not really something that we've talked, that this goes on in locker room talk. But we just have like, it's just kind of the way of the road that it's been with all these hockey companies. Really, all these brands, they just love the. I don't know. They just they, it's a very strange thing. But like if you're a size 9, then you're definitely trying on a size 7 first, like, and then just seeing where it goes from there. And then it's all about preference too. Um,
Mhm.
Paul, the most common one whenever that topic comes up is Paul Coffey. He had skates like, and he preferred it this way, where his toes were like crunched up, like in his
Oh,
skate. He liked them like super small like that.
really?
Yeah, God only knows why. But I mean, I mean, it's simple physics though. Like you see the speed skaters, right? They got the really long blades because it glides in a straight
Mhm,
line better. But
mhm.
like if you have smaller feet, shorter blades, like you can probably it's a little bit more east and west. You can move, side to side faster. So I think that's probably the only real explanation there is to it. But it's up to these hockey companies. You go to like a rent-a-skate place or something, like if you like go to open skate here, like I told you I work at the rink. Like I do when we have
Mhm.
open skate, I gotta give like the rental skates to the people. And like they're always coming back. They come back 2, 3 times. Like they're like, I don't this is not my size. I'm like, okay, how big, low, big, small? What are they? And I just play with them and they just end up figuring it out. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. All right, now let's get into, this season. I mean, we talked.
Absolutely.
It was this season was far and away so much better.
Mhm,
Looking at the record and just
mhm.
how many goals you guys got, and just how much more exciting you were compared to last year. What was really the difference, honestly, then from this year compared to last year, where you guys were kind of at the bottom, and then this year you make it to the SUNYAC playoffs and you
Yeah.
pull off an upset on the road.
Yeah, yeah. I would say probably the mental toughness and the resiliency, I think, of this group this year was just, head and shoulders better. Um, last year was an extremely tough year. We were dealt a tough hand with our schedule, and we knew that right away. It was just one good team after another, and even the teams that we didn't, even the teams that we played like out of conference, those teams were some of the best in their conference. Nazareth is a good example. Trine's another one. And then you throw in a team like the National Development Program, which is the best 18-year-olds in the country. That what I mean, like those 3 games are out of conference games. Like usually, like if for a hockey team, like those are like games that you need to boost your schedule. Um, so like that we knew that coming off, we kind of we knew it was going to be tough, and on top of that, our conference games are because our conference games are always tight. They're always good.
Mhm.
Um, but we knew that it was going to be tough, and we were up for the challenge. There was no doubt about that last year. It was just that when it came to really executing it and playing, defensive style hockey, we didn't execute. And if it was a 1 goal game, we still lost. You know what I mean? We were in some. We couldn't pull it off. Something bad would happen with 5 minutes left in the third period, or you know what I mean? And so but it wasn't all bad luck or anything. We didn't deserve it, but at the same time, like there were factors that kind of kept us behind, and then on top of that, like when a team that when a team walks in and they know that the other team only has a couple wins, then they like really want to stomp on you too. So then we were like, then we're really carrying a trailer with us. But yeah, then this year comes around and we, use that experience that we had from the previous year. We had a slightly new leadership core. We had a lot of new faces that were freshmen. It was the same team, but it would just had a couple different tweaks that obviously Murph did on purpose, and it clicked much better. We were able to play much better defensive style hockey. We were able. I don't know. I'd have to look at the numbers and see what if we put up what like our goal, like how many goals we put up compared to last year. Um, but like obviously we started scoring more. We just played. We were more complete. We were a more complete team this year, and
Mhm.
Emil was outstanding for us in that. And then like when Liam and Riley had to come in and they had to bail, when they had to play, they did very well for us. Our defense got upgraded. I mean, our forwards just were more complete all around. So, but yeah, I mean, the mental side of it was definitely like what put us over the edge. Like we just needed, I think we just needed some experience, and I think the guys got that from the previous year. And for better or for worse, like what are you going to do about it now? Like you can't do anything. We just learned from it, and I just feel bad for that senior core that we left, the previous year, because they deserved better, right? Like they'd served their time for 5 years, 4 or 5 years, a lot of them, and we should have sent them off better. But you know, to the end, like they fought hard and gave them all we got.
So you mentioned Emil Norman,
Yeah,
and the stuff that I've seen, he's such a great goaltender.
absolutely.
And I feel like a great goaltender can really can take
Oh, yeah, it
it
completely
can
changed the
shift
game.
yeah, it can shift the
Yep,
game. I mean,
yep,
think about Dominic Hasek.
absolutely.
He basically would take games away.
Yep.
He would steal the Sabres a few points, or
Oh,
even your
absolutely.
Detroit Red Wings. I mean, he won a
Yeah,
cup with you guys.
you did.
So I wanna ask, like, I look I went over to his Buffalo State profile.
Okay.
I don't wanna say like he's sort of like the picture of him with like the Viking look and the axe.
Oh,
Is he
yeah.
like what's his personality like?
Oh,
I
he's
always
he's
wondered
he's
that.
one of the best. Yeah, yeah, no, I've gotten close to him. Yeah. I mean, wouldn't say that him and I were super close like last year, but yeah, this year we've gotten much closer. I actually just went to Columbus with him not too long ago, to visit one of Parker Allison, our captain's friends. But Emil he is a salt, like one of the most salt to the earth people. He's a real glue guy. Like we just have so many characters on our team, and it is so entertaining. And Emil is no different. He loves playing up the Nordic thing. He loves telling you he's from Sweden, which I don't blame him because I would too. Um, but he's got a great personality. Everybody loves him. He doesn't have a bad reputation with anybody. You never see the guy upset at all. He's a real gentle giant. I mean that in the best way possible.
Mhm.
Um, and you're always going to get 100% out of him. And the kid's a scholar. He's got like a 4.0. Like he won SUNYAC Scholar of the Year. Like and so like it doesn't matter what it is. You're getting 100% from him. And it's hard not to like a guy like he's what am I looking for? He's very he's magnetic. He's magnetic. Like
Okay.
people just like seem to like hang around him, right? Like, and he's got a wonderful personality, and yeah, he's a good, and on the ice too. I mean, he's proven himself there. His excellence there. He's gonna go play pro. I'm not sure whether it's overseas or here yet, but he's he's
Good
definitely he's
good
definitely
on
got a
him.
career if he wants one. That's for sure.
How's his English? Is his English
Oh,
good?
his English is perfect. Yeah, Swedes, you'll never meet a bad Swede. That's like another hockey stereotype, kind of. You'll never meet a bad Swede, and their English is better than most Americans. No, I wish I was joking, but no, I'm not kidding. They teach it over there like extremely young, and yeah, for some reason, just the dialect, there's no like accent. I mean,
Okay.
when you hear certain words, like you can kind of piece it out a little bit, but like say like he gets like a random call from like somebody back home or one of his friends or something, and he'll be talking just like you and I are right now. It literally sounds American, and then all of a sudden it's Swedish. It's like like if the hair and the look didn't give it away for him enough, um
Hey,
but yeah, no, he's an unbelievable guy, and he's one of the guys that I'm lucky to like call a friend thanks to this team. So
I've always loved goaltenders. Goaltender has already been my favorite position.
they're
Like one of my
usually so strange too.
I've
They're
heard that
usually like a little
they're
off. Yeah,
weird breeds, goaltenders,
they
I've heard.
usually are. And that's why this team is, I'm telling you, this team is like it's so strange. They like all three of our goalies are like the most normal goalies I've ever met. Most normal ever. Like, it is unbelievable. 3 for 3. How is that even possible? Like, usually there's always like one that's got like some weird, ritual, or just like doesn't hang around the guys, or like, just I don't know. It's unbelievable. But I mean, any hockey player will tell you that too. It's not like it's a secret.
All right. What was it like scoring the first goal of this season? Like I remember looking back at highlights and your goal number one in the books. What
Yeah.
was that like?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, it felt really good, obviously, to get the guys going. It was the first period. I think it was like maybe my second shift or something. But yeah, no, I mean, it felt great. We were all like wondering like who wants the first one, who wants the first one. I didn't think I was gonna get the first one, but you just get pucks on net, just shoot it. Just what's the worst that can happen? These goalies aren't that good. That's my mindset. Like, or if they are good, they got to prove it to me first,
As I
right?
say, it's hard to stop everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, throw it at them. But no, it was extremely exciting. It was a cool little moment. I didn't really I was shooting to score, obviously, but I wasn't necessarily expecting that one of all of them to go in throughout my entire career. So it
You're
was
like
a
trying to
bit of a
shoot a top shelf and it went 5 hole or something like that.
no, no, no. I just kind of let it go. Joe, yeah. So Joe Glamos, he was just kind of skating through center ice with some speed, and what that does is that makes the defenseman kind of back up a little bit, right?
Mhm.
And when they do that, it creates room for the help that Joe has with him. And I think it might have been me, and then maybe somebody else on the other side. I was on the left side, and yeah, Joe just came in with speed, and he like just kind of left the puck for me, and I just had a little bit of room, and I just like let it go. And I think what happened genuinely was that the goalie, like, he had a screen in front of him. He didn't necessarily see it clean, because
Mhm.
from that distance, if he sees it clean, he stops it every time. But because of where the defensemen were, and maybe even Joe was a screen too, for all I know, just let it go, and it kind of went like between his glove and his head. So, but yeah, it was a cool thing. It was fun. Fun to in front of my family and everything, because they came out, and it was
Oh,
it was
that's
a good
awesome.
it was good to have a lead too. Like, I think we ended up shutting them out that game, so it ended up being the
Oh,
game winning goal. So like but like like whenever you can put one in early on a team, oh, that's what you want.
yeah, I mean,
It puts them on their heels right away.
I think about like the playoff game. What was it? You guys got up like what, 2-0, 3-0 quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait, that was Cortland you're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
The
So
Cortland game.
that was that was yeah, we scored first shift. Whoever started, I think it was Nikita's line. They scored like first shift, and it was like a stupid bounce like off the boards or something. Came right to him. I mean, listen, in a regular season game, it's like, yeah, like, oh, like dang it, like, shoot, I guess we had to score one anyway, but like, darn, like, like, now we're climbing already. But like, playoff game of that magnitude, and I'm sure you want to talk about that later, but like,
Mhm.
in a playoff game of that magnitude, that was you love our odds. You love being a Buff State Bengals fan if you see that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
So
I was watching the game, like, well, I got home, maybe I don't know what the hell I was doing, but I remember I was like, "Gotta turn the game on," because I know, I've been,
yeah,
I haven't been paying too much attention, but when I was like, when I started watching, I was like I started, paying attention
no,
on,
you're a busy guy.
um
You're a busy guy.
I was like, I followed the Instagram, and I'm just seeing like win after win after win, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, this is great, and obviously, Harrington does the Mondays with Murph. Those
Oh yeah,
probably
yeah, he loves those.
were they should have done the Fridays with Frazie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. He should have, like, he should have made that a thing. But I mean, I don't know. The podcast would have probably been 3 hours if that's the case. So I don't know if he's got that much time on his hands.
All right, so do you have any? There's, I know you have one. I'm
Okay.
gonna exclude that. Do you have any like souvenirs like that first goal? Did you like were you able to like kind of keep the puck since it was like the first goal of the season?
Mm, you know what? That's a good question, but even if that were the case, if it were a souvenir, it wouldn't necessarily go to me, I think. Um, yeah, so it was kids' night, I believe.
Okay.
So I think what would have happened they would have probably given it to some little hockey player. But but no, not for that. For souvenirs in hockey, if it's a big goal, if it's like an overtime goal, maybe, depending on how big the game is. But usually the only souvenirs, like, this is off the top of my head, the only ones I can really think of are like hat tricks,
Hmm.
first collegiate goal or first goal of any whatever level you're at.
Hmm.
So collegiate, first goal, hat tricks, um, for goalies, like you have your first shutout, maybe your first win. So I mean, those are just a couple, but yeah, those are like the main like souvenirs. But yeah, I have a couple hat trick pucks. I have my first collegiate hockey. I got my first collegiate goal puck. Those are my two college ones. I think I have a couple from high school. Um, other than that, no, not really. Now it just depends on, like, I plan on continuing my career here. Like when I score, if right, if I score my first goal, then like, then somebody's gonna, try to get the puck for me and put a piece of tape around it and, put the date on it and, put who it's against or whatever, and then give it to me. So that's that I think it's just more about the kind of the experience of like, hey, like, welcome, like, now you're one of us, initiation, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Okay, so this is kind of where I was
yeah,
thinking.
where are you
Probably
going with
the
it?
the other souvenir I'm thinking is the jersey from the outdoor game at Riverwood.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Tell me,
So,
like, yeah, tell me what that game was like, and how did you find out that you guys were going to be playing outdoors?
well, we so the our my first year here, so last year, I guess I can say, we were
Hmm.
supposed to play an outdoor game as well. And what ended up happening was COVID had another wave, and what ended up happening is they just canceled it. Chatham
Hmm.
didn't want to come up. But what ended up happening is we had to go down and play Chatham in Pennsylvania, which was terrible. Um, their rink was awful. But um, either way, so we knew that like Murph, that's what he wanted to do. That's where he wanted to take the program in that direction. Also, we have Riverworks like right in our backyard. Like Murph is so smart for putting that together. Like why would we not utilize that if we can get the ice for it, right? And it's good enough, and it's plenty good enough ice for a collegiate game. Like there's a lot of like outdoor games that are or not sorry, not outdoor games. There's a lot of outdoor rinks that aren't they aren't up to par for they're just like recreational skating stuff. But yeah, once we found out that we were going to be trying it again this year, I mean, we were all super excited. Um, before the season even started, we knew we wanted to like, get their jerseys. We wanted to have everybody, kind of pitch in an idea and customize like one and see what ideas we liked. And we ended up going with Connor Beisel's idea, I believe, with the cursive letters and the cream color, which was awesome.
Those
And
looked those looked incredible.
oh,
Like
they were awesome.
I think back to, the Sabres Heritage Classic that they wore last
Mhm.
year where they
Yeah.
had, like, the cream basically the
Oh
cream look,
yeah.
it looked like really old fashioned, and it
Mhm.
completely blew the Toronto's jerseys
Oh,
out of the water.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, so in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I
Go
I
ahead.
think that when you're doing an outdoor game for hockey, I don't know what it is about hockey, I don't know why, but it's
Throwback
always
jerseys,
cream.
baby.
It's always cream. It's always cream. I don't know why, but for outdoor games, the cream jerseys always just look the best because it's like an off-white, I guess. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
it looks really
Looks better
clean.
than white.
And, like, we got lucky too, like, orange just so happens to go with cream, right? You got black too, like, black goes with anything, obviously, but, um, Yeah, no, so that those were awesome. The game itself was awesome too. I mean, so we played oh, shoot, it was Alvernia, I believe, right? We played them, and we played them the night before at our place here, and we beat them. We beat them, but we knew that like tomorrow they were gonna, we knew that the next day that they were gonna come out strong. And what ended up happening was the total opposite. They came out so flat, and we were flying. We had the probably, I don't know. You'd have to ask Murph. You'd have to ask like one of our coaching staff. But I mean, it was probably top three best performances of the year. I mean, with all things considered, we had everything going. Like there was. It came at a great time, obviously, but it was so random at the same time. Yeah, we just have an unbelievable year or like unbelievable like start to the second half of the semester too, because we didn't end the
Mhm.
semester how we wanted to. We didn't end it exactly how we wanted to. I think we lost to like Cortland or something. Um, or no, actually no, we beat Cortland, but we lost to somebody else. But either way, point is that we were absolutely flying, and it was a sweep to start out the second half of the year, and J term too. So we were like, yes, like let's go. Um, the game it wasn't cold. It wasn't cold.
Really?
It
That's what
wasn't
that
cold.
was my good question was gonna be was how'd you like kind of prepare yourself for the cold? I mean,
I wish I could show you. I wish I could show you, but I have a video, and like we thought it would be hilarious if we did this. And this is just your classic early 20s, guys, just pulling shenanigans, but we thought it would be hilarious if we did warm-ups, like not on ice warm-ups, off ice warm-ups, like running and like stretching and stuff like that. We thought it would be hilarious if we did it shirtless.
shirtless and shorts.
Yeah, shirtless and shorts. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You see it all the time like in football too.
oh yeah, oh yeah, let's like embrace it, you know what I mean? And what's funny is like I was all for it. Like I usually get cold quick too, but like I also know my body, and I also like love like cold tubbing and stuff too. I know my
Okay.
body, and like I know that once I get used to it, like you're fine. So you just got to tough it out. So like rip off the sweatshirt or whatever, and just throw on a hat, of course. Keep the hat
Yeah.
on, just no
Yeah.
nothing else. Um, and then yeah, just we did warm ups without that, and then when we got on the ice, obviously we're just so sweating and our adrenaline's going, so there's no even chance of getting cold. I mean, unless you're unless you're like the backup goalie and you're not playing a whole lot. But
Do you have
yeah,
heated benches there?
no, not at Riverworks. No, that's not in the
No.
budget there. Not in the
I know
budget.
that like, the with hockey games like in the NHL when they do those outdoor games they have heated benches. I
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
sure.
oh yeah, well, yeah. On the national budget, oh yeah.
I guess
Oh yeah,
I
the
guess it also
coach.
does come down to money too.
Yeah, and the coats that the coaches are wearing too, like, oh my god, yeah, no, they get treated like royalty. It's awesome.
Do
But
you
no,
get
it was
to Oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you like get your whole team to like sign your jersey and do you like have it in a frame yet?
No, we so what we did is actually, it's actually funny you mentioned that. So what ended up happening was um we wanted to wear them again, because like
Mhm.
if like we had to buy them ourselves, and like we had to fund them ourselves, create them ourselves, do everything ourselves. And
That's probably was it worth it?
oh, absolutely. Oh, it's 10 times out of 10. You'll never get a no from me. And most of the guys are the same way, I would say.
Mhm.
Um but what usually happens is like, especially if you win, and also like I said, like you can ask our coaches, you can ask other people. I don't want to speak for everybody, but it was definitely in my opinion, it was definitely one of our best games of the year. So like if like if like why not wear them again? Like you're not gonna just like throw them on a shelf, like and they also with how good they looked, like you're like, yeah,
That's
no,
true.
we're gonna try to wear them again. So, but either way, I think we did. I think we did wear them again. I'm trying to remember who it was against exactly. I think was it senior night? Could have been senior night
I don't think it was senior night because the game that I was at was senior night, and I don't remember you guys wearing
because
those
we
jerseys.
lost to Brockport, right?
Yeah, I remember. I because
Oh,
one thing. Go
it
ahead.
was Potsdam. We played Potsdam at home. It was the home. It was that weekend where we played Potsdam on Friday and Plattsburgh on Saturday. That's
Didn't
what it
you
was.
beat one of them like in like it was you
We
beat
beat
one of the
Plattsburgh, which was a huge upset. Yeah.
yeah, it was a huge upset because they were the one of the best teams in the country. I think they were ranked, and you guys beat them in overtime. I think, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that
No,
must have been
that
fucking
was
awesome.
that was unbelievable. That was a riot. Yeah, we almost burned Buffalo down that night. But no, yeah, that was yeah. So it was cool though. I to answer your question though, I don't think we're gonna do anything that comes to like signing it or anything like that. Um, we get these stools on senior night, and I took the idea of getting everybody to sign that because
Okay, that's
I love
cool.
this team so much. Like I took so to, like that's kind of more the thing that I would do instead of taking like the jersey like that because like if I maybe I want to hang that jersey up or put it in a frame or something. And then you don't want signatures on that really,
Really?
unless I don't like not like college. I mean, not I mean, it's not like if you have like a Hasek jersey like up and like it's got signatures from like Sabres players. Like it's not like the same caliber, so you can't really like throw it in there. But like I totally see where you're coming from though. Like you're not wrong. Trust me, you're not wrong. There's definitely been teams that have done what you're saying, but we just elected not to, clearly.
Yeah. I I'm one of those people that like when I go to like any sporting event, when I
Yeah.
see someone with a signed jersey, that
Yeah.
bugs me. Cause I'm like, that
Really?
does not, yeah, because it like I don't want to see that. That should be like kind of like, especially if it's someone like like you know, you said Hashik. Let's say you
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
Hashik autograph. That eventually probably one day is going to be worth some money because he's
Mhm.
arguably the best goaltender ever.
Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
so like if you ever are looking to make a few bucks, people like it in a frame because you don't have to pay for it. Now,
Yeah.
and frames are expensive as shit. Yes, they
Yeah.
are. I have a little off to the side. I have a Fred Jackson jersey that was like a youth extra large that cost
Mhm.
me like almost $400 to frame it.
Yeah.
So frames can be expensive, but you know what? It's when you get them, they look so awesome, and so I can understand. Especially hockey jerseys are like so much bigger.
Yeah, no,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
One
I
thing
mean,
I
yeah,
also
it depends on the color of them too, right? Like, I mean, if they're
mhm,
black, then you gotta get, like, a silver Sharpie and it doesn't show up near as good, like
yeah,
yeah, like, stuff like that, but yeah, no, it's I it's like when it comes to, like, signing stuff, I feel like there's, like, a big difference between, like, doing it for memory and then doing it for, like, a professional standpoint because then you can sell it, right?
yeah, absolutely. If you were to have the team sign it, it's more of like a sentimental value for you
Oh,
rather
absolutely,
than
and that's what I
you.
did with the stool. Like, that's why
Mhm.
that's the only reason I brought it up is because like, that's, like that was what I thought of when I, like, look back, like, that's my senior gift, like, "Here, like, guys," like, I literally pass it around the room with my silver Sharpie, and I'm like, "Here, just, like, take it."
I kind of look at it from a standpoint of my last time I ever played like competitive organized baseball in little
Mhm,
league. I made
mhm,
this like insane diving catch at
yeah,
like in the playoffs, and the umpire in that game actually he used to coach me like back in like I don't know double A baseball and little
right,
league, and then
yeah.
and he was umpiring that game. And funny thing is he's actually my neighbor.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it's the first ever when I moved in here
of
in
course,
2011. He was my
yeah,
first ever neighbor that you know we knew. So
yeah.
basically, at like the end of the year party, I had everybody on the team sign it. So it's
No,
like
yeah.
it again. It's not
Yeah, it's a
worth
sentimental
anything. It's a sentimental value.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Um,
Good idea.
mhm. So
Yeah.
now, what I want to ask is just um, oh shit. Oh, and now I know. Okay, this is like a little fun. If you could play in like say an NHL skills competition,
Oh, yeah.
what would be your best event or what would be the events that you would want to try and why?
Mhm. Okay, so, okay, so for the 2, I would definitely try to, like well, it would be, like, the 2 attributes that I take the most pride in my game would be probably I would try to do this, the speed, the lap. I would try
Fastest.
to do that. I would see how fast I could do and how, like, how I compare to whoever I'm up against. Um,
Go up
but,
against Connor McDavid.
yeah, it would be extremely cool though. What an experience, right? But Yeah, no, I would definitely do that, and then I would do, shot accuracy because the like, what I like to take pride in and something I work on in the summers is when I receive the puck, it's off my stick right away. Like, like a lot of players, like, they'll, like, take it and they'll have to stick handle it or they'll have to cradle it for a second before they shoot it. Like,
Mhm.
with me, it's bang, bang, that's, like, something that and then on top of that, like, if I can if I can hit a couple like right away, like I think that because it's all timing, like it's for the accuracy, like you top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left. And
Mhm.
so if I can rip that out quick, like I think that those two I would definitely be the best at. That would be the only ones that I would probably not completely embarrass myself. um but yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I hate the fact that I'm about to say this as an answer, but I would try any of them. Like they all
That's
like,
true.
I like watching the All-Star game. Like they do a pretty good job, I think, compared to a lot of other like major sport like All-Star games. Like
Kind of like
um
when you think about it with like the NBA All-Star game. I mean, at least
yeah.
like the skills competition, you're not like with the skills competition in the NHL, you're seeing the best of the best go
Oh
and take hardest shot or something like that. Literally for the slam dunk contest, the winner was like a guy who
yeah. G League,
was
yeah.
basically on
Yeah.
the G League for
It was, yeah.
most of the season and played maybe a couple games with Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But
No, yeah, no, I saw it. I've actually been following that kid since high school. He's a stud. But Yeah, no, yeah, like the NBA does a pretty good job too. I mean,
mhm,
it's because there's just something. It's just like the other sports. It's like the NFL. Like you're never gonna get anybody to actually try out there. You know what I mean? Like, with the skills comp maybe, but like not the game. um, and then on top of that too, like you don't even have like a couple of the best like guys because they're at the Super Bowl. So it's
yeah, that's
I don't
true.
know. The NFL one is wildly confusing to me. I'll never really understand
You're
that.
telling me.
Yeah, no, I think they should just scrap it. Just save the. I don't know about the money, but they save the money. Just scrap the idea. Do something else. I don't know,
I mean, the
but it's
flag football game was sort of fun, you had the
oh, I'm
Manning
sure, yeah.
rivalry.
Yeah, but I mean,
So
those guys, man, like, unless they're getting paid like an insane amount of money, which they are, but like, unless they're
mhm,
getting like bonuses or something for that, like, just gonna get guys out there just like going through the motions. Like, you're not gonna see anything cool or anything fun. But it's more for the fans, right? That's like the
that's true.
bottom line. That's the
That's
bottom
true.
line. But yeah, no, the hockey one, I would try anything. They always come up with something cool, like the saucer passes. Like back in the day, they used to have those, like where it was like six nets across the neutral zone, and you would just have to like sauce over an object and like land it in the net. And, like there were like NHL guys that couldn't do all six. Like it was crazy because of how hard they made it. And, like, I don't know. Try it. What's the worst that can happen? I prove I'm a D3 athlete. Like, like, I mean, shoot. Uh,
So
no pressure.
so that what that's something like I've talked to Murph. Maybe that's something like you get. I'll like bring up to him like maybe he's like be like, hey, at the end of the year, maybe if you guys want to do like a skills competition, you can make like a kind of a thing out of it. I don't know, but one of
Absolutely.
my yeah.
Something to get the fans involved too.
Mhm.
I think that would be a big one.
I mean, pay, a couple bucks for tickets. I think that you can definitely
Oh
make
yeah.
make something interesting about
Couple
it.
bucks challenge the hockey guys. We had an off ice one like that. Where we went into the union and we were like doing like an accuracy kind of competition against like whoever like came up and like signed a piece of paper for us, and it was like part of athletics week or whatever. And I participated in that, and that was pretty fun. That was pretty cool to do. But yeah, no, like, it's a good gesture, and it gets people involved too. It gets people to ask questions, and like they find like you don't really have a real appreciation for the sport unless you've been ice skating or you've held a stick in your hand and try to shoot the puck. Like
Mhm.
incredibly, it's extremely easy for me, but like for like you know these people, like you could be a 5-star athlete, like, but you put a stick in their hands and they're like, "Well, how do I like?" They're working their hands. do I hold it? Like,
Speaking of that,
yeah.
I've always wanted to know. I'm left-handed,
Yeah.
and for some weird reason, you see these people that play hockey right hand, excuse me, left-handed, but they're actually right-handed. Like
Yeah,
what?
no, so that's me. Yeah, so that's me. I'm right hand dominant in everything. I am not ambidextrous at all. Um, but yeah, no, I'll never understand it. So yeah, I'm left-handed in hockey and golf too, by the way. But my right hand is top for everything, right?
Mhm.
Like I hold the stick like this. Um, so yeah, I will never entirely understand. But you say you're left-handed?
Yeah, I'm left-handed. I mean, there might be. I can't think of. There really aren't a lot of things like if I were to play goalie.
Yeah,
I mean, I used to play like floor hockey. If they didn't have a left-handed if they didn't have a left-handed glove
yeah,
and blocker, I kind of would just sort of adjust myself. It might feel a little uncomfortable, but I will say like the one thing like if I was like trying to make a pass while if I was catching with my left hand rather than my right,
yeah,
is that it feels like I'm actually shooting left-handed because when I would play, floor hockey with the right
yeah,
with catching with my right hand, it would
yeah,
be so difficult because I basically would have to be, passing
yeah.
the puck left-handed, or excuse me,
No,
right-handed,
yeah.
excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, like, the only thing that the only thing that I've ever heard that kind of makes sense with it is, so if I'm looking at you and like I said, I'm left-handed. So like if you pass me the puck right now, I'm catching it on my forehand, which is on the left side of my body.
Okay.
That's like the only like logical explanation that I can like kind of give.
I've
Um,
always I've always heard that people say like, oh, it's because they want their dominant hand up at the top.
well, yeah, that would make sense, but like if that's the case, then I should be right-handed.
Hmm.
Right? Because that's my right hand's up top. So like, it's
Like,
totally strange.
yeah, that's true.
It's
I
so
don't know.
it's messed up, man. I mean, it's the same way with golf. I mean, it's the same way with any other like baseball too, right? Like, um, I mean, I got one for you though. I got a buddy back home. He plays hockey left-handed, golf's right-handed. You want to explain that
That's
one?
I obviously golf left-handed too. I think I wouldn't say it's when you were saying I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were saying like, oh, it's weird. I'm right-handed, but I play hockey left and shoot and golf left-handed. I
Yeah.
think it's because there's like golf has very similar motions. Like I learned my golf
Yep.
swing from kind of just like it's almost like shooting a slap shot, basically.
Yeah, no, that's well, I mean, it's terrible for your golf technique.
Oh
Same with
yeah,
baseball, right? Same with baseball swings. You can always tell like who's a baseball player whenever you see him swing a golf club. So, um, but yeah, no, you're spot on. It's tough, but I mean, you just have to. I don't know. I haven't put too much thought into it. I think the what happened was when I was a kid, my parents just threw me a stick and I just started hitting it a certain way. You know what I mean? When I started realizing
hmm
I wanted to play hockey, I think I was like 4 at the time. They just threw me a stick and like that was like the way that I wanted to shoot the puck and like that's it's not going to change.
All right,
Um
now, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't
no,
mean to
no,
cut you off.
I was done. I was done.
So I actually was like trying to look around for questions, and I think
Yeah.
this came from Tanner Saunders, who called your games
Yeah, yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He said to me, he's like, "This is like a really nerd question, but ask
Hit
him,
me. Hit
what's
me.
your stick flex rating
Stick flex. So
if you
it's
have
not
one?"
so yeah, it's not a rating. It's just usually like our flex is what we call it.
Uh huh.
Um, I'm a bit picky with my sticks, but I'm pretty average when it comes to it. I'm 6 foot, 180 pound like guy, so I use an 85. That's pretty standard. It's pretty normal. As the game evolves, though, you're starting to see guys that are my size usually using like an 80, um, 80 flex. So like it depends, but it's all preference. Like I could talk to you about hockey equipment all day, but it's all preference.
What
Like
does that mean? What does that mean? Stick flex?
so, it's
The numbers. What does that mean by that?
when you shoot the puck, or when you shoot the puck, it's like the amount of I don't think it's the amount of pounds or anything like that. But it's just like, actually, you know what? He could be right. I guess it is technically a ratings system, because you have it depends on the company too. There's some companies that go by fives. There's some companies that go by sevens. Um, but uh, but like, yeah, so like if an 85 is going to be much more flexible than like a 100 flex or like a 100 flex stick. And like, it's not it's not really super easy to explain, but it's just like, when you if you're shooting the puck and you have a higher flex, so that means it's stiff. That means that the stick is really stiff. Like, if you can flex it, the recoil on the stick is actually what fires it, right? What fires the puck. So if I take a shot with 100 flex stick and I actually can really bend it, which is hard because it's so stiff, that recoil is going to fire that thing, and I'm going to be able to shoot extremely hard. But not everybody likes using that, because like, the chances are you're not strong enough. So what players are doing now is they're starting to use a lower flex, like an 80 or a 75, where it's just all you have to do is flick your wrist and you're flexing your stick like this, like, you know what I mean? So then the thing just pops right off, because the game's getting faster. There's no
Mhm.
more wrist shots. There's barely any even slap shots. It's all one timers and snapshots, like very quick motions. So, and because of that, I think that's why you're seeing lower flex, so people can just kind of snap it real quick. But as far as the rating though, like, it's just like, you go 100, 95, 90, 85, and it just gets whippier and whippier.
Well, you learn something every day. I will put
Yeah,
this down in the notes as something that I've learned.
yeah, well, yeah, I would have to put one in your hands, and like, you could really feel the difference. But like, then
Mhm.
again, like I said earlier, it's quite literally all preference. Like, there are guys that are smaller than me that like using a 95. It's rare, but it depends on the feel of the puck too. Like, if you have a really whippy stick, like if you're like stick handling really quick, like if you're cradling the puck back and forth really fast, like, it feels different than if you have a really stiff stick. So it's just all preference.
Okay. So you're from Michigan. You're a Detroit Red
Absolutely.
Wings fan.
Yeah.
Before I even started like creating questions, I actually asked you who was like your favorite player growing up. And oh shoot, in Russian.
Yeah.
Think of it.
That's it. That's it.
Pavel Datsuk. There we go.
Travel,
Thank
that's it.
you.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
mad that I couldn't remember that.
Oh, that's okay.
What made him your favorite, and like what are some favorite moments that you had as a fan?
Um, well, I mean, okay, so growing up, they were a juggernaut in the NHL. They
Oh
were one of
yeah,
the best teams every year. And so it
I
was
think they've won
hard.
2 cups in your lifetime.
I
Yeah,
think
they did.
three, because I was born in 98. So you got 98,
Oh, okay.
02, or
And
actually you
then
got
to that.
90. Well, I wasn't born in 97, but I was born in 98, but you had 97, 98, 2002, and then 2008. Um, so yeah, I've had three. So it's hard to grow up. Well, first off, it's hard to grow up in Michigan and not be a Wings fan, just because they're the
Mhm.
only team like within a huge radius, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're a Chicago fan, which you would never be. So, you know what I mean? But yeah, so it's hard not to be a Red Wings fan, especially where I was, um, especially as a hockey player, myself growing up. But yeah, they were just so good. I'd say my favorite memory is definitely going to the games. Yeah, tickets were so darn expensive though. It was hard to go, but it was a real treat when we went. Right, like
Mhm.
it was a real special occasion. Um, and then we have their ECHL affiliate, which is 2 levels down from the NHL, about 20 minutes away from my house in Toledo, Ohio, Toledo
Oh,
Wall.
wow.
Yeah. So like we would go to their games too, like, and we would see, like prospects or whatever, but their games were just super fun too, because they had a really nice arena at the time. But Pavel Datsuk, Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because like not a lot of people like he was criminally underrated. Like he wasn't when he was playing, right? Like everybody appreciated him
Mhm.
when he was playing, and
But
now
they
people
never put him, like, on the Crosby or the
no,
Ovechkin
they
level.
never did because he played a complete game. He played the full 200 feet, right? He had the defensive. He led the league in takeaways. He never took penalties. Like he had the most complete game that the NHL has probably ever seen. The only thing that you can say is close or even better could be like a Patrice Bergeron. You could say
Ugh,
you can make a case
Boston.
for yeah, I know, I don't trust me, I know. But you can make a case for Anze Kopitar. I mean, if I thought about it more, I'm sure I could come up with some, but like guys that like actually like take pride in the
Mhm.
defensive zone just as much as they do in the offensive zone. And then on top of that, you have like his highlights. And I mean, watching his highlights like when I was a kid, like I
Especially
it's
probably, like, the shootout. He was incredible
oh
in the
yeah.
shootout.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally called like Magic Man, like the magician. Like he just has like he was so like he was magnetic, like with like fans, because like he just did everything right. There was nothing. He never had a bad game. He might have for his standards, but he never had a bad game just because of the way he played. So it was very easy to be a fan of him growing up. It wasn't he made like, and this is gonna sound really corny, but he made like watching like that style of play look cool. Like because like especially now, like you're seeing it too. Like you're seeing like all the attention goes to the high end goals. You know, like the really cool looking goals,
Mhm.
falling down while he's shooting or whatever. Like that's like what all the attention goes to. But when he was at the peak of his game, like it was fun watching his defensive highlights. Like how crazy, that's mind boggling. And like in my opinion, there's not another guy in the NHL that there's ever been that you can say is the same way. So that's why I think he's the most complete player in the NHL. And it would be criminal of me as a Red Wings fan not to say he's my favorite player.
He won a it's a I don't know if they still do this. What is it? The Sulky Award, right? For best
Yeah.
defensive forward?
Okay.
I'm sure he probably
Yeah.
won that a lot.
Oh yeah, he won that a few times. He won the Lady Bing a few times. And he had something that, and like he wasn't big. He was extremely strong, which is like so underrated. Because like if you ever like watch his highlights, you'll see him like lay out Shea Weber. It's like what? How did he do that? He's like 5'11". He's not tall. He's not a tall guy at all. But he's just strong, good skater, and he never made a bad decision. Like so the hockey IQ is like it's everything. It just shows you. And he played at a time too where a lot of like you were an outcast if you were under 6'1".
Mhm.
So the fact that he was able to do all that he did at his size, incredible. So yeah,
One thing that popped into my head, so, I mean, I've it's something that I like to rewatch. The
okay,
E60 Fight
yeah,
Night at the Joe.
oh yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, obviously, I don't think you were born
I don't
for
think I was
or
alive
you
for
were
that. No, I think it was that 90. Yeah, it was the 90. It was during the 90s, right?
yeah, it was during the '90s,
Yeah.
Avalanche. When you saw that, what was your, like, kind of I mean, I'm sure you might have already known
Oh
everything
yeah.
that happened, but how cool was it to kinda, like, get an
Oh yeah.
inside view of, you know, Darren McCarty and, Claude Lemieux's perspective
Oh
on
yeah.
what happened?
I mean, every documentary that they've come out about it, I've watched. It's hard not to. Um, I it's kind of funny because I used to like the Avalanche growing up, but just because they were like I don't know why, but I really like their like colors and jerseys and stuff. But it,
It's how some people I know that's how they became Patriots fans, is they like
yeah,
the
no, yeah, no,
lineman
but yeah,
logo.
yeah, no, it's so true actually.
And then I'm like,
Um,
"Okay, I can give you a pass on that because that means you liked them when they were terrible."
yeah, no, that's pretty spot on. But no, yeah, the rivalry was something special. Obviously, everybody that was alive and coherent for it was invested in it in both Denver and Detroit. I mean, the reason I think it's so gravitating is because it's so rare to find not only a true rivalry anymore, where it's like these two teams actually hate each other. You know what I mean? It's not like they're just like competitive athletes just trying to win. Like these two teams like genuinely hate each other. And then you mix that with a sport that you can actually go toe to toe with somebody in the middle of the play. Like you're it's madness. It's
Mhm.
madness. Like you'll never see it. It's the closest thing that you're gonna get to barbaric times. Like, right? Like or it's there's nothing else like it. So I think that's why it was so like it was so magnetic. It was so special to everybody that was, to every fan. Like it doesn't matter what side you're on. Um, but they always have done a good job with like the coverage and stuff of how they tell the story and everything. Like it's just like Claude Lemieux. He did a little dirty action, and like the Red Wings had to respond. And not only did they have to respond physically and within hockey code, but at the same time they had to win, and because they knew whoever won that was going to probably win the cup.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean those the years of those rivalries or the yeah, those games throughout the years were crazy. And even the regular season games were crazy with the
Mhm.
brawls and everything. And then the goalie fight, right, with Osgood. I think who's the other Vernon and Osgood. Vernon, both of those are Red Wings guys. They both fought Waugh, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just like it's hard. It's hard not to love that about hockey. It's like if you have any genuine like love for hockey or anything that's perfect. Like you're gonna be in heaven watching those. It'll never get tired of it.
What was your reaction when you found out that Detroit was going to be moved to the Eastern Conference and put in the Atlantic Division?
I couldn't even tell you what year it was. Couldn't even tell you. Um, it didn't matter. It didn't matter because I think at the time that it happened, we weren't that good. I don't think it because I don't think it happened. I think it happened after '08, right? Right? Because we won the
It
cup in
it
'08.
definitely did. I feel like it happened probably right after that. I know that the Red Wings had this like record of consecutive years of making the playoffs,
Oh yeah,
and I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that
yeah.
that was the year they started to miss the
Was
playoffs.
it? Okay. So it
It
was
could have been.
recent.
Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely recent.
Oh,
I don't remember off the top of my head
yeah.
when exactly that streak got broken, but like I wasn't sure if you had like a problem with it because you're like, well, I wouldn't call Detroit they're not obviously an East Coast team, they're Midwest or they're
Yeah.
uh, I was just honestly surprised that they would move them to, you know, the Eastern Conference and let alone the Atlantic Division because that took away like some of their rivalries, especially with Colorado and
Yeah.
Chicago.
Now if they're gonna face each other, it's gonna be in the finals, right?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, no, it's actually, I'm happy you asked that. I've never been asked that before. But I mean, obviously, I can't really have an opinion on it, right? I'm no
Yeah,
affiliation, but I
but
I
just like
think
as a
that
fan, is it
I mean,
weird?
listen. Oh yeah, as a fan, right now, I'd wish we were still in the Western Conference because like we probably would have made playoffs this year.
Mm.
um, like yeah, no, the Western Conference is so it's so under par compared to what we have in the Eastern Conference. Um, I mean, you have teams that are unbelievable playing each other in the first round. Like that's wrong. I mean, Gary Bettman really needs to take a look at that. But I mean, I don't know if he's gonna, I don't know. They already proposed it. I don't think he's gonna change anything. Um, but yeah, no, I wish that they were in the Western still, but at the same time, it probably came down to money. It probably came down to travel. It probably came down to all that, especially knowing that they were probably going to expand to Western teams. Because if there's ever going to be a new team in the NHL, it's not going to be on the East Coast. You know that.
Mhm.
it's gonna be out west somewhere. It's gonna be, Houston, or it's gonna be, you know what I mean? Like Kansas City even, I think, is thinking about
So I
one.
feel like
Uh,
Kansas City would be so much better than like say Houston because I no disrespect to the Coyotes, but that market is not really great for hockey. I mean, they're playing
they
in a
need
college arena, so
Yeah, well,
but
that's just temporary. That's just
oh yeah, I know.
you can't hold that against them yet, because that's just temporary. But the problem is their bid for their like their own like stadium arena, like I think it got turned down. So yeah, like Bettman is shaking in his shoes right now. That's for sure. Because that's his baby. You know that. Like the
Yeah.
Coyotes are his like thing. That was his doing, and they have just time and time again proven to not they just don't. It would be different if they were good though. Like that's what I want. I have a roommate from Arizona, like,
Oh
and
yeah.
he lives like 10 minutes away from the rink. And I tell him all the time, I'm like, I want you guys to be good. Like I like think that you guys could be like, it would be a sick place to like. Not only would it be a sick place to play, but it'd be a sick place to like have the fans and like if I like for example like if I ever go to Vegas, like I'm 100% going to a Vegas Golden Knights game,
Mhm.
100%, like without a doubt. T-Mobile Arena, unbelievable. The team is good. Like you have like a lot of fun stuff.
And
Like
the
with
pregame stuff I've heard is out of
oh
this
yeah,
like just
yeah.
crazy with
Oh
what they
yeah.
do.
'Cause they're
But
entertainers. They know what they're doing. They know how to, like, build it up. They can
mhm,
do that. And, like, the thing is, like, Phoenix or not Phoenix anymore, Arizona, they're just so bland. They're just so
mhm.
bland as an organization. Yeah, the Kachinas, I love you can't hate the Kachinas. Love them. Love the jerseys. But they just yeah, they need some help. But
I've always I've always liked the reverse retro jerseys, especially the one where
yeah,
it was the purple one. God,
yeah, the
those look
purple one's
gorgeous.
cool.
Those were my favorites actually.
Dude, I liked all the reverse retros. There were barely any that I didn't like. I mean, they were just I thought they were cool. I thought that was a really cool thing. But now that
Mhm.
Adidas is leaving, I'm upset about that. Who isn't? Yeah.
So one of my questions. So you were saying you've been to a couple Red Wings games.
Yes,
Were there
absolutely.
was there ever? I mean, I don't know if this was done every game, but was there ever a time where you were at a game where an octopus or a squid was thrown on the ice?
Oh yeah, it's every game pretty much.
Every game? Okay,
It's
that's
every game. I mean, it's especially every playoff game. I'm not sure actually, it's kind of strange that you say that because like when I was growing up, it was every game, but now I don't know if it might not be. I don't know. But
I'm
I
sure
don't I
once they
don't
get better, it'll
Yeah,
be
I think that's probably I don't know if they're waiting for that necessarily, but I think yeah. But yeah, no, it's a tradition. It's a long-standing tradition. There's a story that goes behind it. I feel terrible for not being able to recite it. But yeah, there's a
you don't
story.
feel terrible about it.
Yeah, there's some story. It's just like there was some guy that did it, and he just got a they won or something, and it ended up turning into a thing. And like I mean, now you see like kind of like I don't want to say copycats, but you see a lot of similar stuff like
Yeah,
with like
the
Nashville,
catfish.
yeah, the catfish. Um, yeah, so I mean, it's a cool little tradition. I still it's gonna tick me off that I don't remember why it was an octopus necessarily, but yeah, they're cool. It's a cool little thing that we can like attach the Detroit. It's like not even
Mhm.
just a Red Wings thing. It's really like the brand of Detroit too. Like you see
Yeah.
an octopus in Detroit, like oh that's the Wings, like so. As a Detroiter, I can say that like it's part of us. I guess I don't know.
So I do want to. You were mentioning this earlier.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the NHL playoff format? Me
Oh yeah.
personally, I think it's terrible.
Oh yeah.
Having
Well,
basically the two and the three seed in the division play against each other in the first round.
yeah.
Like nothing makes me happier than watching the Leafs lose
Oh, absolutely.
and watching their fans basically crumble. And now talks of maybe Austin Matthews is going to leave, but it's also kind of frustrating because they're a good team and they have not been able to get out of the first round to save their lives, and it's because of a I don't want to call. I mean, I guess you can call it a dumb playoff format,
Yeah.
but a format where basically you're pitting two really good teams against each other in the first round. Just like,
Yeah.
what are your
Well, I
thoughts
mean,
on that?
no, you're spot on. I mean, listen, I'm always down to rip Toronto. I'm with you. So um, I guess my where do I want to start here? So they haven't made the play. They haven't made it out of the first round since like what, the 90s?
I think it's '06
Oh,
actually.
oh,
It's
was it?
something like that. Something like
Okay.
that. Back when the Sabres were good.
Okay. Okay. So yeah,
Yes, there was a time when the Sabres were good, people.
if it's been that long, if it's been that long, I don't care what you say. There can be a fluke, and you can still win out of the first round. Like we're not talking about the Stanley Cup here. Like we're talking about just winning a playoff series. So like you can't blame any one thing for you not making it out of the first round since '06, if that's the case.
Hmm.
Like you just
And
can't.
especially because of what happened, like the COVID year, where basically it was the Canadian division, and they were clearly the best team, and they
Yeah.
faced the Canadians, who just I don't want to say they got lucky. They just had a hot goaltender,
Yeah,
honestly.
well, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, Carey Price. Wow. Yeah, they blew a 3-1 lead. I mean, you can't, yeah, like I said, you can't blame anything but themselves. Like,
Hmm.
so that's my thought on that. But the playoff format itself is just it's prioritizing the wrong thing, in my opinion. It's prioritizing travel and essentially money. Like it should be 1 verse 8, 2 verse 7, 3 verse 6. Like there is, Western Conference, Eastern Conference, put them up against each other 1v8. Um, I don't think that that's a crazy controversial thing. Brad Marchand went on some, either, I don't know if it was a podcast or if somebody asked him in an interview or something. He said, "Yeah, like you have two of the top three teams in the division playing each other first round." He's like, "What the hell is that?" And it's like, yeah, he couldn't be more right. Um, so yeah, they're just doing it off of location, which I understand. But it's just you're not getting the best quality product on the ice, and like upsets aren't even like an option almost, because it's like two unbelievable teams. Like it's actually crazy how the Rangers were underdogs going in against the New Jersey Devils this year. I will never understand that.
Yeah,
Never understand that. They shouldn't even be playing each other. Both the teams, I
they
think, had
should be
over.
playing in the first round.
No, I know. Like like I don't know. It's really shocking, but and like the
Hmm.
thing that I don't know if they understand is that like as the game is getting better, those 1 verse 8, because that's what they try to do. They're trying to avoid the 1 verse 8 matchup, because then it's like you can't like it makes it more fair. It makes people, you know what I mean? It makes it easier to get out of the first round. But like as the game gets better, like that eighth seed it's usually a wild card. But like that
Yeah,
eighth seed is like not a bad hockey team.
I mean, look at the Florida Panthers are the 8th seed, and they won the
Wow,
President's Trophy last year.
wow. I know. I mean, they made a couple bonehead trades, but like still, like I just I don't know. I'll never understand it. But it's not my decision, not yours, unfortunately. But
Hmm.
yeah, they definitely need to go back to the old style.
All right, and my last question, and I've had an absolute
Darn
blast.
it, we're already at the end.
We've been going for an hour and a
I know,
half.
I know, I know, I know.
Uh, who do you got winning the cup?
Um, oof, on air. Um, who do I? So I want.
Anybody? You got maybe top 3 teams that you see are
Yeah, no. Oh, trust me. I'm gonna answer your question. Don't worry. I just I'm I so I want Tyler Bertuzzi. He was who the Wings gave up at the deadline. I want to see him win the cup. I mean, this is his first time in the playoffs, and he's like a little bit. He's like older, like compared to most people that are first round. So or first time making the playoffs. So I want to see him do well. I want to see if I see Boston lift the cup. Obviously, I'm going to be like the rest of the country and hate it, but but I will be extremely happy to see Tyler Bertuzzi raise the cup. So like I will say there's a part of me that wants Boston to win it. Um, other than that, other than that, who wouldn't love to see Tampa run it back again if they can get hot? And then on top of that, if they win the cup, that means they beat Toronto in the first round again, and then Matthews is which is true, by the way. There's no doubt that he stays another year. I mean, he's just gonna he'll ship out or something.
Austin
Um,
Matthews go. A lot of people are saying Austin Matthews to Arizona.
yeah, you know
Is
what? I keep saying that too, but I don't think it's gonna happen. He'll go
no,
to,
I don't.
but you know what he'll do actually is he'll go to a team like LA. He's gonna go to another big city. Like there's no doubt. Like he has so much mass appeal that like they're going to put him in a big city.
He
It's just
might
like
even try and get to maybe like Florida or something. Like I mean, I've heard
oh
that
no, yeah.
like a state that doesn't really have state income tax. Like I don't remember who it was. There's someone from the Lightning. I think who's the captain for the Lightning?
Oh, Stamkos.
Yeah, I think it was Stamkos. He had an option to go to either Toronto or stay in Tampa, and he stayed
Yeah,
in Tampa for less money than the
yeah,
contract is, and that's
yeah.
because of the state income tax. He would have had to pay more money to the taxes.
Detroit was in on that too. Detroit almost got Stamkos.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
just
yeah, so yeah, but you're right. Listen, it's a thing that a lot of players like that like they consider, but the media doesn't really talk about.
mhm.
Um, the spit and
I mean,
chicklets
the first
podcast.
time I ever thought about it was with Jordan Poyer, where I
Yeah,
honestly thought he was going to go to Miami, and like
yeah,
I was literally saying anywhere but Miami. You can
yeah,
go to Florida, just don't go. I just do not want
yeah.
to see you twice a year. So yeah, like
Yeah, no, um, I'd love to see the Avalanche. Love to see the Avalanche do well. I don't think they're going to win it though. I don't think they have it this year. They also
mhm.
lost their captain, which is a tough blow. Also, Seattle's putting up a hell of a fight against them too. Good for them. Um, but
I would
to
hate
answer
to
your,
see Seattle just because they're like a first year team,
I know it's like
and
Vegas. It's like why everybody hated Vegas when they did it.
I also like the other reason why I wanted to see the Capitals. I almost said Nationals. The
Mhm.
Capitals win the cup was just because like my favorite ever like sort of like the handing of the cup from the commissioner to the captain. My
Yeah.
favorite one was Alex Ovechkin.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that stuff's hard to beat. Yeah. No, it really is. That's like that, and that's gonna be the best. That's gonna be the best cup passing for probably a while.
Hmm.
Until we get another Ovechkin like that. You know what I mean? Unless you like see like a Matthews that like doesn't win a cup until he's that age. You know what I mean? Like it has to be a player of that magnitude that's that old. Um
Or even a McDavid.
I mean, yeah. Speaking of him, that's the team I'm on. I
Okay.
think the Edmonton Oilers are if they're going to ever win a Stanley Cup, it has to be this year. It has to
Well,
be this year. Yeah, McDavid and Draisaitl are flying. They are healthy. It is like knock on wood that they stay healthy. Like if they can do that, and if their defense and goalie continues, like Stuart Skinner has been an unbelievable like talent in that for them. Um, and then if their defense, they traded for this guy named what's his first name, Matthias Ekholm,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so he used to play in Nashville, and he was with those Nashville teams all those years when they were very good, making deep runs.
Making it to the cup final.
Yeah, poor Nashville, they deserved it. There's a couple of years where it's like, oh my god, just give it to them. But
And it's so sick and tired of Pittsburgh and Sidney
yeah, I know.
Crosby.
Well, that city needed it. That city is a huge gold mine. Like, who would have thought that Nashville, Tennessee, would have been such a huge hockey fan base and such a huge? It
Mhm.
is now. It's crazy. But yeah, so they traded the Oilers traded for Ekholm. They got him. It's actually I have never I don't like I'd have to think about it a little more, but I have never seen a single defenseman because the defensive position is much different than any other position. But like I've never seen a defenseman, one defenseman get acquired by a team and it just completely changed the dynamic of the defense for that team. And with him, he is like, I don't know if it was him, his off ice stuff. I don't know if it was just on ice and it just clicked with whoever his D partner is, but like they are killing it. They are by far they've been the best team in the NHL since I think January. Um, so if they can keep flying the way they are, then the cup is finally going to come back to Canada for the first time since 1994. And
I
then
know
so
it's crazy.
it's a
It's
crazy stat.
it's like this. I think it's like the curse of Marty McSorley because they
Yeah,
found the illegal stick and that's how
yeah,
that
yeah,
came
yeah,
around. And that was
yeah,
Montreal won the cup, and last time they someone won a Stanley Cup in Canada.
yeah.
But for me, I think I'd have to go with the New York Rangers.
You're gonna go with the Rangers? Okay.
Yeah, just based off of the fact that a what I've seen so far, like they literally have dominated New
Yeah,
Jersey in the
New Jersey,
first two
yeah,
games, and the
and they
Devils
should have
are a good
too.
team.
They should have, yeah.
And the Devils are a young team. It's me personally, as a Sabres fan, I wanted to see the Devils win it because of Lindy Ruff. I've always had a soft spot for Lindy Ruff. When
Yeah,
he got fired, I was really upset. And but I think they're just young and they need have room to improve.
yeah,
But with their forward depth and how good they
right.
are, almost making it to the conference. I think they
I
almost made
mean,
a conference finals last year, and they also have just arguably, Connor, right? Connor Hellebuck, right? That's their.
no, Hellebuck is with Winnipeg.
Oh,
Who they
right.
get up? Shesterkin.
Yeah, Igor Shesterkin, who is, I wouldn't say replaced, but basically has lived up to what was left behind him with
Lundqvist?
um Lundqvist, yeah, who is
Mhm.
such a great goaltender, and now
Yeah,
he's a great
when he's hot, he's
goaltender.
hot, yeah.
And so I think that's
I
what's
love
going
the
to end up
Rangers too.
prevailing
I
them. Yeah.
really do. I think they have a real shot at winning it. I would love to see Kane raise it up again. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm a big Tarasenko fan too. I think I wore 91 for years. More
What
for
made you change to
Stamkos.
17?
Yeah, they don't have high numbers here in D3. But no, 17 is just like I always liked the number 7, so I just kind of just ended up with 17. That was like the one option they
It's
gave me.
because of Josh
But
Allen.
I know. I did you know what was funny is I didn't even realize it. And then all of a sudden I get here and then I'm like, what? Oh, they're like, oh, what number did you pick? 17. I'm like, oh, Josh Allen. I'm like, what? The girls loved it. I'm like, are you kidding me? But
You're a
yeah,
Lions fan, right?
yeah, yeah.
Did you hear
I
about
mean,
what happened today with a couple of the
yeah,
players?
yeah. Yeah, listen. I don't. You know what? So this is speculation. I haven't read anything into it yet. But I think dude. They should let them. They should let them bet on like if it's not the NFL.
Mhm.
Like if an NHL player wants to
I think
throw
that's what they did was they bet on football.
no. If they would have been on football, it would have been a year, is what I
Well,
heard.
that was for one of their guys, the guy who was Jamal Williams.
Yeah, Jamal, yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, he was a rookie wide
Jameson
receiver.
Williams.
He
Yeah,
did not bet on football, and that's why he got 6 instead of a full year. For me personally, I mean, I kind of understand it. You're working for a private company, the NFL, and they
yeah,
don't
no,
want you really betting on sports. But to me personally, everybody else can do it. And also, like if you look at it from and like people find it fun.
yeah,
And for me personally, like I look at it like Pete Rose was
yeah.
arguably one of the greatest players
I
ever,
know. Man.
and he
Yeah,
will never get in the Hall of Fame because he bet on baseball.
yeah,
And it's unfortunate because I
yeah.
think that, like you think about greatest hitters ever,
Mhm, yeah.
Pete Rose, and he can be enshrined in the Hall of Fame because he gambled on baseball.
The thing is though, and this is my opinion, and like I was raised by an older generation of parents.
Hmm.
um, rules are rules.
Same here.
You knew what you got yourself into.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, like you're a professional athlete. You are making millions of dollars. If anything, bet with your teammates on a handshake. You know what I mean? Like, or on a milkshake, or whoever pays for dinner next. There is no excuse for going on a sportsbook app or getting caught doing something like that when you are literally making that much money. Like like you and I would give any one of our limbs to make that much money, right?
That's true.
Like and like
Yeah.
these like and so like honestly, I don't feel all that bad for him. I don't. Like there's no excuse for it. In my personal opinion. But like at the same time, there is a little bit of thought in the back of my mind that is like kind of what I said like a little bit ago. It's like it's not on football, like like I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, I guess you could have connections with like other pro athletes, like that makes sense. But it's like, but then the quick fire back to that is, um, the quick fire back is, it's a slippery slope. You're not going to want to, you don't want to let a certain, population do it or a certain situation happen. And then like all of a sudden it just opens the floodgates. So
Yeah,
that would
absolutely.
be that would be my 2 cents on it. But what do you think?
Well, I honestly, I agree with you. They're making millions of dollars, money that we'll probably never even come close to. I mean, if we're
Yeah.
lucky enough.
Yeah.
But I think about it from a standpoint of, yeah, you kind of you broke the rules, so
Yeah.
it makes it.
It's not like it's a hidden rule either. Like that's the
Mhm.
thing. Like
I
you
hear
know what
that they
to do.
actually go over the rule, like they go over
Oh yeah.
rules in
Yeah.
like at in the facility they have like something along those lines, so they kind of knew what they were doing, and
Absolutely.
they thought they would have gotten away with it, and they didn't.
It's like, do you feel bad for the guys that juice in baseball? Like, do you feel bad
No.
for I mean, do you feel bad for people that constantly cheat and get caught? Like, probably not. Like, so I mean, it's just it's stupid. And but the problem is it's a real addictive thing, right? Like,
Yeah, I
it's a
feel kind
real
of the only time I feel bad for them is like with the Barry Bondses of the world and Mark McGuire's, that they won't be
yeah,
able to get into the Hall of Fame because they
yeah,
juiced. And
yeah,
I mean, obviously it stinks that they juiced and they were part of the steroid era.
yeah,
But two things, let's be honest, baseball was dying,
yeah,
and then they were able to bring it back to life. And
yeah,
secondly, the Houston Astros cheated using technology,
yeah.
and they knew what pitch was coming.
Yeah.
With the steroids, obviously you have a competitive advantage, but you still have to hit the ball, and it's still
Oh,
kind of hard to
absolutely.
hit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that's a great point. I mean, there's so many ways to cheat now because of like technology and because of like, with things with dietetics too. Like there's guys that are cheating in every sport probably. But like,
Yeah,
they just haven't caught it yet or they just don't know what to look for yet, right? So, yeah, that's a terrible I don't know. It's everybody's just looking to get an edge, right? And especially when you're getting thrown that much money, it's like why I understand both sides, like why you would because like you need to keep up with these guys. Like you can't fall behind or else you lose your contract, you lose your money, you can't provide for your family. But at the same time, it's like shit. Like, why would I? Why would I? I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to cheat because then if I get caught, like everything's like automatically done. It's all done in an instant, you
mhm,
know. So
absolutely.
I get both sides of it, but hey, you got to run.
Hey, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. This was I had so much fun doing
I
this. I
know.
have fun,
I have fun with you every time. I
yeah,
really do.
it's
This is unbelievable. It is, and I'm honored. I'm honored every time.
hey,
So
you know what? Do you if there you got any news about whatever you plan on doing in the future, please
yeah,
let me know, and I'll even maybe even send a word into some of your other
yeah.
friends on the team, maybe even
Please,
Emil,
yeah,
because I was mentioning him, and
yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
love him.
You would love him. You would love him on here.
All right,
He'll
I'll
yeah. Um,
definitely, if you get a chance, like, reach out to
yeah.
him for me.
No, yeah, definitely, definitely. But as of right now, I'm looking to continue my hockey career wherever it ends up. It could be here, it could be overseas, but I'm putting school off for a little bit and just gonna keep playing. And it's like,
That's
they just
awesome.
pursuing a dream. Hopefully the first person in my family to a get a college degree, and second to play a professional sport. So that would be
This is start. Remember that. It's just
yeah,
a start,
yeah. And then
not a finish.
hopefully that paves the way for my kids, right?
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Hopefully,
So
hopefully. But either way, Evan, thank you so much. Really
yeah,
appreciate it.
you want to throw out social media before you go,
Oh,
for anybody where to find
yeah,
you?
I think my Twitter handle is worthless because my old Twitter got hacked, man. It got hacked.
Oh,
Yeah, and then I made a new one and I just follow like a couple close friends, but that's pointless. But my Insta is JoelFrazie. So it's basically just what you see there minus the two E's. And then yeah, don't hit me up on Facebook. But yeah, no, it was a great time, Evan. We always have too much fun doing this, and the problem is you and I are both talkers, so we could stretch this out if we wanted to too.
definitely, definitely. Hey, man, thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, anytime.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Depot's Den. I have been Evan DePasquale. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Evan Depot2, and I'll make sure to post these podcasts on. You'll be seeing them on Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcast, and the title is Depot's Den, DIPO apostrophe S Den. So thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time.